Because of the pandemic right now, a lot of students are considering taking off this fall, which is completely understandable. And that's why I wanted to make this video about the pros and cons of taking off school, my own experience with taking a semester off school, and some tips for starting strong again whenever you decide to come back. Make sure you watch to the end of this video because there I'll be sharing a free tool that I personally designed and have used myself to gain massive amounts of perspective and clarity in my life. For the best college and career advice, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every single Monday. As a college coach, I have a lot of students who have needed to take time off from school for various reasons, but they struggle to re-enroll because, quite honestly, while they were taking that time off, they didn't really address the problems that led them to taking time off in the first place. I really wanted to make this video because this happens a lot more often than people think, and I also happen to be in the midst of taking a semester off grad school right now, so this is also from my own personal experience. Before we really get started though, I just want to say that there is absolutely no shame in needing to take time off. I know there can be feelings of embarrassment around potentially taking longer to graduate, but I want you to know now that everyone's journey is valid. Life happens in different ways, and there's no reason for people to feel a certain way due to having to take time off or potentially dropping out. It's totally fine, and this is a judgment-free zone. And those feelings really cause more harm than good. Now, there are a lot of reasons why people end up taking time off. And I would say that by and large, the most common one is financial constraints. Other possible reasons include burnout, mental or physical illness, a personal loss or a death in the family, as well as feelings of unsureness around whether or not the program you're in is actually right for you long term. Whatever your reason is, there are a lot of pros and cons to taking a semester off. As far as the pros go, taking time off is a really great way to save some money, mentally rejuvenate yourself, and really just recover from whatever has been going on in your life. That's why my biggest and the most important recommendation that I have for people who want to take time off school is to have a plan for that time. Usually this plan will be in the form of a job or volunteering, taking care of relatives, taking an online class. But no matter what, you do not want to be in the position where you just have months and months of unstructured time on your hands, because that is the fastest way to downward spiral and just cause a massive decrease in your mental health. So if you're thinking about taking time off this fall, you want to start looking for jobs and other opportunities right now. And if you haven't seen them yet, I definitely recommend checking out my Job Search in 2020 video, as well as my LinkedIn for College Students video. I know that right now, especially, it's really hard to find jobs given what's going on. So another alternative is to volunteer your time with local community organizations that really need it. Since right now a lot of people are relying on food pantries and different community services to really keep themselves afloat, this is a great way to spend your time and also build a lot of new connections just around where you live. Now, what are some of the cons of taking off school? The biggest one, the main one, of course, is that you might struggle with getting back on board and starting re-enrolling again. Also, you can only take out federal loans for a certain amount of time. There are limits for them, and I'm going to include a link in the description for more info on that from the FAFSA website. Comment below if you've ever taken time off school or a gap year and the impact that it had on you. I really want to hear from you guys and see how taking time off has either helped you or maybe not helped you in different ways. Now I'm going to dive into the second part of this video, which is how I decided to structure my time off. As I mentioned earlier, I'm actually currently taking a semester off grad school. The reason for this is because I initially started last fall with pursuing a master's in education, but after working in schools and going through the program a little bit, I actually decided that education and K-12 teaching wasn't for me. So even though I wrapped up that semester, I decided to take this one off in order to just reorient myself, make some money, which I frankly needed, and get a new direction for my career. The organization that I'm currently involved in is an Americorps program, which is a great option for people who have their bachelor's degrees and want to spend some time giving back to their community for a specific period of time. For instance, my commitment with my nonprofit is 6 months. So for 6 months, I've worked with them, and then afterwards, I'm free to do whatever else I want to do next. As a result, I was able to get my feet wet in the world of higher ed and figure out whether or not that was something that I wanted to do in the long run. And just to be completely transparent, I also needed money, and I wanted to make sure that going into my next semester of my master's, I was financially comfortable, which is why I got a side hustle at a sushi restaurant. I just worked there 3 days a week along with my Americorps job, and I put all of that money in my savings so that when I start up again, I will have a cushion and an emergency fund to fall back on. This all leads me into my third point, which is about how to restart strong. Since I myself am starting school again in the fall, I have a few tips for people who want to make sure that their re-enrollment and their time off goes as smoothly as possible. And the first tip is to make sure that you are emailing your advisors and you're on top of your registration dates. I know there can be a temptation to feel like because you're taking time off, you're basically on a break and you don't have to deal with your school email or your portal, and that is really not true at all. Make sure you check your email and communicate with your advisor so that you're registered for classes as soon as they open. And when you get into your portal, make sure that your financial aid is all set up so you don't have to do any last-minute scrambling once classes start. My second tip is about not losing momentum in your relationships. While you're taking time off, make sure you're still keeping in touch with the people that you met at school and the people that you had classes with or maybe knew in other areas, so that when you come back in, it's not like you're completely new and you have to make a whole new set of friends again. This can actually go a long way in motivating you to come back because, quite frankly, we know that we should do certain things because they're good for us, but as long as we have other people to hold us accountable as well, it can really help us move forward with our goals. Last but not least, if you're somebody who has trouble feeling motivated, I really strongly recommend writing down your goals or creating some type of vision board. Even if you're not the type of person to have a 5-year plan in your journal, just script it out day by day, this is still something that has helped me a lot when it comes to keeping in mind my eventual goal of getting a master's. Because taking some time off has been really rejuvenating and it feels really good to be making money. So sometimes the thought does cross my mind, oh yeah, I have to go back to school. And that can feel a little bit like a drag because it's so expensive and there's so many costs associated with it. But since I have my vision, I have my goal, it's very clear in my mind that this is what I want to do, I'm able to push forward and re-enroll again. All right, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, speaking of writing and reflection, I am so excited and happy to announce that I have launched the Write Path, which is a series of writing prompts that I have used and fine-tuned to help me reflect on what is really important in my life and career. If you feel like you could really benefit from some self-reflection and self-discovery, I highly recommend downloading it. The link is in my description box, and like I said, it's completely free. Next week's video is going to be all about unemployment, which, just like taking off school, can be a little bit of a taboo subject, which is why I wanted to make a video on it, because some of these things that have feelings of shame or embarrassment around them are real things that people go through and I think deserve to be discussed. On this channel, I always try to be real with you and create videos that actually relate to what people are going through. So if you want to be notified and see that when it comes out, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. I'll see you there.